What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com, here with another news update, trying to do these each weekday and as big stories happen. Of course, you can catch all of our news at Fightful.com. That goes across MMA, pro wrestling, and boxing with exclusives on all three of them. Today, WWE held their third quarter conference call. Our writer Brandon Howard Thurston did an incredible job covering that. Follow him at Brandon Thurston, because what I'm reading comes directly from his Twitter and from his report up on Fightful.com. He is a must follow on Twitter, and all of his articles are must read. Now, this may go a little bit slower than usual because I'm reading an active timeline of his tweets. It starts off with Vince going over some slides. They are more profitable than they expected, as it turns out. Again, Fightful.com has all of that. Their TV rights deals are coming up, including one in India at the beginning of 2019. That's important because that directly plays into the quality of a SmackDown or a Raw, whichever program Jinder Mahal's on. Unless he sees drastic improvement, you may be stuck with him at the top of that card under delivering. It's all subjective, but I wouldn't look for him to be going anywhere anytime soon, based on the fact that they're trying to get as much money as possible out of that India deal in early 2019. Vince put over his international signings. He needed Triple H to help him remember Kavita Devi's name. George Barrios went over finances. Triple H says that he has never spoken on a call, or actually Brandon says that Triple H has never spoken on a call since he's been listening, but did this time. So that's also notable. Jinder Mahal was featured in a couple of the slides that WWE put out, looking at what WWE expected for the fourth quarter and the 2017 year in full. There was an interesting note that despite live attendance being down, and you will always see the tarped off shows and just the bare crowds, that the money they make off those are up because of the ticket prices and the additional events. You got to remember, Raw is running live events, SmackDown's running live events. They're going international, it seems, more lately. I'd have to check on that. But NXT is also running, and sometimes they're running two different loops, maybe not loops, but two different sets. So that's something that you have to look out for as well. The WWE Network paid subscribers is at 1.522 million, which came within 2% of their 1.54 million projection. And quarter four is projected to be at 1.47 million subscribers, which it would be down a little bit, but it would be up from last year's 1.40. So that's definitely a positive. You always have to worry about churn with the WWE Network. Like, how are they going to get people who aren't already invested? How are they going to keep people there? So that's something definitely to keep your eye on. Barrios put over how well Supercard did in the licensing segment. So this WWE Supercard game came out. I played it a little bit, had to test run it for a website that I worked for. It's made them quite a bit of money. It is a very inexpensive game to produce, and it's been a wild success for them thus far. They said that they went from 100 to almost 200 advertisers, which Brandon says he thinks is in reference to the USA Network advertisers. The stock was up 8% as of Brandon tweeting about it. Brandon says that Barrios noted that bundles will exist. There may be different bundlers, but we do think that bundles will exist, and that even though TV ratings go down, they are a powerful aggregator of eyeballs. Also, he said that there are like a small group of potential suitors for their WWE TV rights, and they put over how dramatically things have changed since the last time they've had to negotiate. And that's true. Like, it's constantly changing. Personally, I looked at my wife yesterday and I said, by the time we move in a year and a half, 2 years, hopefully, we probably won't have DirecTV. We'll probably be, or we might have the digital DirecTV service. Like, there are a lot of things that you have to consider. And a lot of people say, well, why don't they go into the network and just put their programming there? It's really hard to create new fans when you have to subscribe to something to have immediate access to it. It's one of the things that we found out when a lot of our content was members only. Well, you have to kind of see what you're getting before people will subscribe and people will sign up. Barrios says that he expects WWE Network subs to keep growing next year. Wilson says that it's early days for the WWE Network in China. It's too early to tell, but their partners have been pleased. Laura Martin questioned Vince on international business and says, could we be doing this 15 years ago? George Barrios answered instead of Vince and says that content consumption and the company has changed and that WWE has muscles that it didn't have before. Well, people are going to take that quote and apply that directly to Jinder Mahal as well. They put over how much of their roster was female, noting that 35% of it is female, and says that 10 years from now, talent development will be all over the world. Lots of stuff that came out of this conference call, as always, and fortunately, we have the likes of Chris Harrington and Brandon Howard, Brandon Thurston, who give you all this great coverage at Fightful.com. Make sure you go follow him. I know that Brandon has a podcast of his own that he does on this, WrestleNomics, so that's worth checking out. Follow at Fightful.com and, of course, at Fightful Online on Twitter. And make sure you go give Brandon a call or Brandon a follow. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained, guys. But thank you very much, guys. Tune into the List and Your Boy Wednesdays at 3 p.m., our post-Raw, our post-SmackDown show. Lots more news will come out of this conference call. Until next time, we're out.